Again, this is Old Man PHP. I create PHP video tutorials for the old guys who want to learn a new skill and compete with the young crowd. Basically, anybody can learn from me. You don't have to be old. This is video number 57. And on the last video, we talked about the $_server. That's PHP super global variable. Remember? Which holds information about headers, paths, and scripts and location. But on this video, we're going to talk about the file uploads. But before we do that, I want to first check the php.ini file. This way you can configure it to help you upload files. If that particular what is it called, directive says no, then you can't do it, so you need to change it to okay. This is how we're going to do it. So there are some rules when we do that. Let me see something first. Let's check out the actual php.ini file. I want to check to see if the file upload equals to on. So let's see, remember how we do this? Remember how we enter or add PHP, how we embed them into HTML files? This is how it's done. You see the comma, PHP, space, question, and boom. Anything that goes between the start and end tag is PHP. I mean, we could jump this down to the next line, but we don't have to, because since we're only doing one little line, we could do it all in one line. What is it? php.ini. Actually, that's the name of the thing. But you know what we're going to do? We're going to say php info, because we actually want to check what to do. So we do this, and then we do that. We're going to save this now. Just to let you know, this name of this file is called upjust.php. Yes, it's here on the form. This is once you hit the submit button, it's going to call itself. Okay, so let's do this now. We saved it. Let's run it here. Boom, here it goes. This is the actual php.ini file. And if you look at, by looking at my version, I'm using 7.1.7 in my local host. It's pretty much, I think, 7 in a production server, which is why I couldn't use some of the 8.0 features. But right now I want to check right now I want to check for this. Let's see. I'm going to write this down right here so you can keep it in mind. File underscore uploads, and it should be equal to to on. So I'm going to check. This is file uploads. Let's go here. Let's go to the directives from the core. Where is it? Oh, here it goes. Core. This directive, we're using 7.1. We already saw that there. So we're using something called file underscore. Remember, alphabetical. You can find, here it goes, right here. File underscore uploads on. And you can use the ini set command to set these things. I think we talked about this in one of those videos. I don't know exactly which one it was, so when I find out, I'll put it down in the description below, so that way you can go straight to that video and refresh. Okay, so let's get this out so we already know how that's done, right? So we're gonna save this. There you go. Pretty good, right? All right, so now that it's on, so there's some rules to follow when creating your HTML file, the form, which happens to be this form, right? Make sure that the form uses the method post, because it has to be post right here. You have to do it post, not get, but post. The form also needs the following attribute, which is this here: encrypt type multipart /form. You need this. so you can get this stuff. When you hit this, it'll show up, and that's what you need to get. And then, of course, your input file should have the name, right? Equals file name and the type. The type has to be file. So it specifies which content type to use when submitting the form. So you just, without the requirement, the file upload will not work. So you need to have this and you need to have that. So the type file attribute shows the input field, which is this one here, right? So if I go like this, it'll give you this. So to select the content, so what you do is you click on this, wait, boom. Because you did this stuff over here already, that's why you're getting this. I don't know, should we upload a small little picture maybe? I don't know, do I have one? Let me see. Maybe we could do this one. It's 28K because I don't feel like dealing with, how about a picture? This one. How about that one? We'll do this one. That's okay, it's big enough. Small but not huge. We'll use this one. So we're gonna open it up and boom, there it goes. It brings in the name. That means it's already inside here. So when you submit this, it will go through the process of calling itself. By the way, I put it all here. I didn't want to retype everything as we talked, so I put it all in there. Okay. So when you hit the submit button, it's going to submit this button, right? It's going to call itself, and it's going to say, "Did you set this?" Since you hit this and you got submit there, you did set it. So it's going to say is set, and that's how you get it. Post, remember, because you did say it was that you want the method to be posts. And there you go, $post. It checks to see that you hit the submit button. Yes, it did. Now it's going to grab everything that you did here, all this stuff here, and it's going to give you the file name, which we're assigning to a $file. And then we, you know something, I'm using the super global $_, but I could have very much copied this and put that in here, but I just kind of like, I didn't care really. I'm going to use this variable in another section over here. So I just kept the super global $_files. Now in this particular case, because it is this, right? Because you're reading, it's going to give it a name, and that would be the name right here. And not only that, it provides you with the temporary name too. It provides you with a temporary name, and it also checks to see if there's an error, if there's a problem with the file. If you get 0 error, that's perfect. If you get something, then you get an error. You hook it up in a way that you, let me see, where can I find this? Right here, see? If it's equal to something, let's hit this so I can jump down to where I know where it is. Right here, you can put any message here. You're loading the wrong file extension, or there's a problem with your file. I mean, anything you want to say, you put it over here. So, but right now there's no problem, right? Because I'll show you in a second. And then what you do is, as you go down the line, you want to check for the size. Remember, if anything that's over 10 million, maybe 100 million, that we don't want. We want you to push an arrow out. So you got to keep it underneath. It depends on how you do it. And the way to fix that, you got to go into the ini file to do that. And then you got your type. The type is because we're doing, what is this that we're doing here? What was it called? It was the PHP. It's a PNG file. So if I hit this, it's going to call himself up. This is the name of the file name, .png. This is where the temporary file went. See what happens when you upload the file name, it goes and puts it in the temporary file. And because within here, I want to move it somewhere else, it moves it real fast for you somewhere else, but with the name. So, but before we do that, what happens is the way I have it set up here, this is just me because I just wanted to see what it looks like and to show you that it's an array and this is what it looks like. That's the name of the file, the type, right? The temporary place where it goes, because from there it goes straight to your the directory that you pick. And then there's the size, right? It's not a bad, it's a small size, right? So that's what I wanted to show here. The pre and the slash pre is just to make it look good. Otherwise, it will look kind of weird. It will go straight down with, let me see, if I take this out, let's say we do this. See if it'll work this way. Oh, no, I take that back. It won't work that way. We'll do it this way. I like to do 3. But comments is 2, okay? So if you set this up, see how it went? See how ugly that is? So we don't want to read it like that. I mean, if you're an expert, it's your name, I know, but you like to make it more formatted so people can read it. So you go like this, and this is something that you do for yourself, not that you're going to provide. It's up to you. It depends on what you want to do. All right, see, now it's perfect. Now the explode command here, what it does is it takes, because the name of the file is, what is that, screenshot, blah, 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 .png. I want to cut it from here. So what happens is this explode will explode this into an array. It'll have the arrays, index 0 will be the name, and index 1 will be the PNG. So you're kind of breaking it. That's what it's like, exploded where the dot is. If this would have been like a dash, then you put a dash here. If it was a comma, you put a comma here. Right? But right now, the way files are created, you need the dot. Then it breaks it down. Then you say, when you get an array that just has 2 of them, you just want the last one, which is the extension, right? The file extension. And you just could use the word or. You could have did it differently. You could have say $file. You could have done something like this. File exec, like this. And that would get you that last piece. But instead of doing it like this, why not use a function that's called end? It gives you the last one, the last, the last one. So you could say, and then at the same time, you want to make it lowercase. Just in case it was written as an uppercase, you want everything to be lowercase, so that way later on you can control it. And if you want to change to the first letter of your file name to uppercase, there's ways of doing it. Right? And over here it tells you what this file is. It breaks it down more. Tells you right here it is. Gives you what that PNG thing is, the PNG, right? And this is what the actual, because this is what you did, right? You took that piece out, put it in, you assign it to this variable, and then, of course, you're echoing this variable, which happens to be this. Then I created another array, and I put in like few entries, like the extensions of file. So you can see, you recognize them, right? I mean, I didn't have to, I could have just taken this thing out. Like, let's take this out too, let's say. And you can do P, D, and NG, like that. So what happens is the in_array, that's another function. I think we talked about this, where what happens is that it takes two values, 2 arguments. And in this case, because we're reading, this is the actual, yeah, it's an argument. And you're sending these things to the parameter of the in_array function. And what that does is that it takes this, remember this here, this happens to be, where is it? PNG. And then what you do is, this is the name of this array. And what you're saying is, hey, is that PNG inside this array? And of course, this array has PNG. If you say, if a file was PDF, and it says you had this PDF is in here, it doesn't, so it'll give you an error. But if I went like this, let's see if I put an error there from before. No, I did not. But you could have put it right here. You could have just say else and then curly brackets and maybe throw in an error and then go right back up. But in this case, I didn't really care. So then after it passes and it says, yes, it's in there, PNG. I want to check for errors. Now you go look at your file. If you see no errors, it's all good. So far, so good. It just keeps going. But if there's an error, you can always give out an error with the else statement. Now, after it has passed that, you're going to say, how about the, what, is it less than, let's see what it is, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 10 million bytes. You would say, yeah, it is less than that because basically it's only 741973. So it passes. Then what you do is, because you know you have a directory called my uploads, you can call it anything you want, and then you put a /. The reason why you don't need to, but you put, because you put it over here. But I just added in there as an assignment, and then I ran. So now I want to compare, right? I want to say, okay, let's test this out. So if the move upload file, meaning that if this temp name, right, finds the temp, where is it? The temporary name. Here it goes. Finds this name, temp name, right, which happens to be this stuff here. And what happens is it looks at it, so okay, I'm going to move that, and I'm going to move it to your destination directory, which happens to be uploads /. Now the reason why there's a slash is you can see here you got $log, which is what this is, right? Dot, and then the name of the file with the name, which happens to be right here. See, it gives you the name of the file, which happens to be this right here. So what you do is you want to say, oh, listen, I want to copy that. So from that temporary name, right, I want to copy this, right? So what happens is now you're saying move that temporary name to this. Now remember, when you upload a file, it goes to a temporary directory. And this is the name that it provides. And it happens fast because you're moving it real quick. So what happens is you move it over to the destination. Let's find that destination. This would be under here, right? Let's go. Remember, the way it works is you get your local host, you find your htdocs, and then you find your directory. And here it goes, my uploads. So if you go my uploads, you got one here that was done at, this saying 9/20/15. Okay, we just want to make sure that it's different. If it's the same file, then it copies it over. You'll see anyway, so it moves that to this location, and it gives it to you as a root file name, which happens to be this one right here. So what happens is it moves it over, and once it moves it over, it moves it to a temporary directory, and real quick moves it from the temporary directory to this directory. Then you have successfully uploaded your file. And of course, I put these messages here. It's up to you, whatever how you want to do it. Your file has uploaded successfully. Then you can give the temporary name, which is kind of what I did here. Your file has uploaded, and this is the directory of the name. Remember, see, this is the name. It's the actual name, right? And you're copying over. I should have just put something over here like the actual name. Should have printed it out. That's okay. It's no big deal. Anyway, so it does that. So if I kind of did this, so let's try one. Did we try one? I did do that, didn't I? What was the name of the file that we? Right here, 235. So yeah, this is it right here. This is the name of the file that we copied over. First, it went to the directory, giving it a temporary name. Then from here, we moved that uploaded file from the temporary name to the actual location that you want, which happens to be this here. This is the name of the directory. See? And it copied that file over. It's funny because in the temporary file, it just creates this temporary thing. instead of giving you this full name. But it already knows what that file is because you already have the name right here, file name right here. It gives you the name, but it also gives you a temporary name so you can use, which happens to be this. And it's not you using it. We're talking about the system itself uses it when you do the move upload file, because you're using it. You're right here. Look, you're uploading this file into here, and that's how that works. Simple as that. You can put unique IDs. You can do whatever you want to fix things up. Well, we reached the end, and if you enjoyed this video and you learned about how another look at the file uploads, for people who ask me to do this again for the, I guess, the third time, which I don't mind. It's like you sitting next to me and you need help and we're talking, I will show you. If you ask for help 100 times, I will show you 100 times. So please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel, because this actually will help me grow my channel, be more successful, so that way I can create more tutorials and the more people like it. And then one day YouTube will say, hey, I'm going to monetize you, and then I'll be able to afford another screen so I can do better videos. But thank you very much. A good night.